Hey guys, it's Nick and Spencer. We're back here. Of course, this is my ghost form.
Change of scenery, yeah.
Change of scenery. I'm actually now broadcasting live from heaven. One cheeseburgers finally did the trick here. As you can see, this is my corporeal form. My celestial form is down back in Earth, but I still really just enjoy talking about Ohio State football. And I'm gonna really spook out Dustin later.
Do you have any insight into from heaven? Does Ohio State win a national championship next year?
I mean, listen, I don't want to be breaking a lot of rules, but yes.
Here's a better question: do I take over your slot on afternoon drive now that you're gone? Rest in peace, Nick. But
dog, it took two questions. It took two questions to go from is Ohio State going to win to can I have your old job? I have a family, Spencer. All right, I have 3 beautiful daughters and a beautiful wife. What's next? Hey, can I move into your house? And is Vanessa into plural marriage? Because I already got a kid and a wife, but we can kind of do a whole a big love kind of thing. Like let the body cool, brother. We haven't even hit Leviticity, and you're out here.
All I'm saying is,
through my pockets.
Keep it in mind. I know you have some wonderful children of your own. But if you can write Spencer German takes over afternoon drive in your will, I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure that Andy sees it and we're all good. We've got a great bond. We're good friends. We do this podcast together.
So every day you'd say this show today is in memoriam of Nick Wilson.
That can be part of the deal. If you put that in your will, it will be in memoriam of my good friend Nick Wilson.
You know what? Now I'm going back to my body. Now I'm not dying. Out of spite, I am now staying alive for the rest of my life.
But Ohio State still wins the national championship, right?
Not now. Not now because of this bullshit. If I was in heaven, I would have been able to make it work, but not now. No, I'm still very much alive as far as I know. But to go ahead and get into
still very much the host of Afternoon Drive.
And still very much a first-class pain in the butt. But we do get to our Michigan panic meter. Mine has not changed. I am still in the lightest of gray. That's actually my only regret is I can't get less gray than here. Like we are off the charts.
More gray.
That's the one. That's what I meant. Yes. I'm just beyond any sort of panic. Granted, it's because you don't play them for another 11 months or so, 10 months or so. But no, I really like where Ohio State's going. And I think it's interesting. Now the other shoe to fall will be what additional players you can add and what really happens at Michigan with Harbaugh. Obviously, the assumption would be Sharon Moore takes over for him. But, what happens if he goes to the NFL? How does that impact the portal? All that kind of stuff. But I'm very excited about where this thing is.
I'm very excited too. I'm going to stay in the light gray, and I'll tell you, Nick, the thing I've decided that the thing that will make me move my meter into full gray,
it moved,
would be seeing and hearing about the reports of what Will Howard looks like in spring ball. I want to, because again, I believe that he's going to be better than Kyle McCord. We've talked about it already. But to sort of see it all come together, see him actually throw the football to guys on this team and start getting implemented into the offense, we know that stuff also matters. Fit matters, all those different things. Now you got Bill O'Brien. How will he fit into the schemes that he wants to run and the structure that he operates the offense in? So those are all things I'm kind of waiting to see on. Once I get maybe, or hopefully, fingers crossed, good reports on that, or if, whatever, then I'll be able to, I think, sort of join you in the dark gray, in the deep end of the pool, if you will. And I'll probably stay there for the majority of the offseason leading up to first kickoff of week number 1 of next year. So I'm waiting to kind of see a few things as spring ball opens up. But other than that, I'm not panicked. I like the way things are going. The other thing that could sway it too, and this is what we're about to talk about, is if a couple of these other big name recruits that are out there on the market potentially come to Ohio State.
So I will say nothing, we are one of the shows that we really pay attention to our comments on the 92.3 The Fan YouTube channel and, on social media as well. At Nick Wilson says, at Spencito _. And nothing makes me laugh harder that Michigan fans don't get the bit that the Michigan panic meter is not Michigan panicking for you, but our own level of concern about beating Michigan. Because every time we post a video of our final segment, which every time is the Michigan panic meter, Michigan fans are like, we ain't panicking. We just want a title. And it's like, you are wildly defensive for a school that just like, and like, here's the thing, guys, keep bleep posting us as many comments as you can. We love it. We love to see the smack talk. And if you see, I will actually just be like, yeah, enjoy that dub. Like, I'm not going to talk smack because the reality is, like, you've earned the right to talk smack. But the defensiveness of, we're not panicking. I don't know why you say we're panicking. We just won a championship. We don't have anything to panic about. I'm like, your defensiveness says you are panicking.
The number of signs that tell you that it's not about Michigan, like how in your head and in your feelings are you that you think everything's about you? Like it's not all about you. Like the color scheme of the meter is literally scarlet and gray. So clearly we're talking about Ohio State and the level of panic that they should have about Michigan at this point. And you know what? You're not panicked because you just won a national title. Well, guess what? Nick and I aren't feeling very panicked either because Ohio State's ready to punch it back in the mouth next year. We'll see.
Well, and fair is fair. If this was an Ann Arbor podcast or Detroit podcast, and there was an Ohio State panic meter, I guarantee you there would be Ohio State fans in the mentions of them saying, well, Ohio State's not panicking. We're not panicking. We just got Will Howard. We just got Bill O'Brien. I don't know why we're panicking.
I actually think it'd be the opposite. I think it would 100% be, you guys are in the if it was, say it was maize and blue colors, you guys are in the blue. You should be full maize. Ryan Day's still the head coach. As long as he's the head coach, I'm full maize every day.
That'd just be if Anthony Lima was in their mentions. Man, a lot of shots being taken today. You tried to kill me and then tried to take my job.
I didn't try to kill you.
You just embraced my death very quickly. You
started the segment with, hey, this is the ghost of Nick Wilson. I have now passed. And listen, it's an opportunity. So I'm going to try to seize that opportunity. That's all I know saying.
We all grieve differently, but you basically flip the double birds to Miss Kubler-Ross, because your grieving scale, you went from there was no denial, what was it? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. You went straight to acceptance. You were like, I guess he's gone. He's morbidly obese. It was bound to happen.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is every time I fill in, this is like really behind the scenes at 92.3 The Fan, not so much our podcast, but every time I fill in on the night show on our station, there's one listener who tweets me and he asks what I did with our full-time night show host, Jonathan Peterlin. He's like, oh, what'd you do? What'd you do with JP this time? Did you hire a hitman? So I find it funny that this has now come full circle where people are going to assume that now I'm trying to do the same with Nick Wilson. So
see, when you actually live long enough to become the villain, which every sports talk host does, become a villain to somebody, there's at least one or two people that instead of being like, hey man, hope you're okay, their version of showing me concern is to be like, oh, you finally died. And I'm just like, I am a human. I'm a human. I have feelings. I maybe don't put it like that. We got a little man sighting. Hell yeah. Somebody's trying to take your job. Not so goddamn funny now, is it?
He is trying to take my job. That's right.
Yeah. My, how the turntables have turned. Yeah, this is.
Go see Mama. It's okay. Oh, man. He definitely wants my job. It's fine.
Yeah, hey.
One day.
We're stealing money.
I don't know. If he can make coherent sentences with you about Ohio State football and Ryan Day, then I'd let him do it. But right now, it would just be a bunch of mumbling, and you'd be like, yeah, that's a really good point. And if you want to follow Sons of the Shoe, you can find it.
You basically just described me working with Dustin for 5 hours a day. Okay.
This show's off the rails.
Tiger keeps getting out of the cage here. Too many shots fired. I was thinking about the Alabama portal, and it does feel like it is just open season on Alabama kids right now. Caleb Downs looked like he could be going to Georgia, but Ohio State is still in the mix there. And the big kind of spicy piece of tuna out there, it literally, he's about 6'7", 330 pounds, is Jadyn Proctor, the left tackle for Alabama, who I think was the number one tackle in last year's class, came in as a freshman, was the starting left tackle. As it kind of sets up here. Now, apparently Iowa really wants in them pants as well. But if you could only choose one, let's say you only had enough NIL, we're playing a hypothetical here. This is not really how this works. But if you could only choose one and you could guarantee you'd get one of them, who would you choose?
If I can only pick one, I'm probably taking I'm probably taking Proctor, Jadyn Proctor. I think, listen, the idea of Caleb Downs is great, and I know Ohio State was linked to him when he was coming out of high school anyway. And he's a hell of a player. It'd be nice to have him, but I think we saw with this defense last year, like, I'm going with Lathan Ransom and Josh Proctor as your two starting safeties, and I understand where you can get an upgrade in Downs, and that's great. Guy who started, he got some playing time almost immediately. I think he's also a special teams whiz too. Like, he can be a returner for you. So there's a lot to his skill set that he brings to the table. It'd be great to get both. It'd be great to get him. But if I'm being honest, as we talk about this blueprint for beating Michigan and the tough team idea, and that's the thing that has people worried about it, they're going to be able to do it again next year with these skill positions loaded up again. That's the biggest area I still have questions about is the offensive line. And if you want to get the most out of Will Howard, I want to see that group just have as much talent as possible. And Jadyn Proctor is a bona fide lockdown tackle. Starting as a freshman is pretty telling, especially at Alabama, like a place like that where Nick Saban's playing the best of the best. I would love to get Jadyn Proctor here. And you know what? If Jadyn Proctor decides he wants to go to Iowa because they're going to throw a lot of money at him, fine. Have fun scoring 10 points a game next year. That's all I got to say.
I will say for offensive linemen, that is the kink, is getting into as many fist fights as you can. Scoring the points doesn't matter. It's just getting as many slop fights as you can.
He's
going
to be in his post-game press conference just like, yeah, we didn't win the game, but I love when we can run the football for 175 yards and I can just bulldoze people down the field. Like,
yep,
cool, man. But
hey, don't knock it till you try it, buddy. So I'll be honest, I was actually more torn on this than I thought they would be. Josh Proctor is going to the Senior Bowl at the end of the month here, so it's Lathan Ransom, it's a couple other young guys.
That's right.
You're a little thin here because you also had, I can't remember the kid's name, but I think he went to either LSU or Louisville. I know it's definitely an L name school, but you lost a kid in the portal who's a safety, so you are thin in that room. And Caleb Downs would be able to step in and be an immediate impact maker in the secondary. And I think it would take pressure off your corners because he's just such an elite talent. But Jadyn Proctor, to me, is the kind of guy that changes offensive lines. To me, when you start to build an offensive line, you're looking, can I get an elite tackle or can I get an elite center? Right? Can I find an elite piece to build around? And usually, like, I think the Cleveland Browns are doing a great job at building around the interior of the offensive line and then putting up with I think that allows you to have a little weaker edges, right? This year, Posick, Teller, and Bitonio were just so freaking good. It really helped you figure out the tackle spot where you're on your fourth and fifth tackles, and at some point, six tackles. But in this case, Jadyn Proctor would be the best offensive lineman you've had in a decade. I mean, and think about it. I mean, they've had some really good, so I don't want to besmirch everybody, but I was trying to think of, like, who would be who's like definitively an absolutely better offensive lineman. And the reality is, a lot of those teams under Urban were kind of developing guys. And yeah, you still got some really good recruits, but like, how many top 10 picks did you have that went on to be left tackles in the NFL? And this Jadyn Proctor is like, play for the next 2 years, stay healthy, and you will be a top 5, top 10 pick in 2 years. And I think that's the kind of guy that you build an offensive line around. I think it allows you to move Simmons to the other side of the line where he might be a little bit more comfortable. And, between your interior guys, now all of a sudden, Jackson's back. I don't know if Hinsman still is alive. I don't know if he has been. I don't know if he's up here with me.
He's been abducted in
in heaven,
by a van with people with hooded figures that
Ohio State's version of Uncle T just lost his shit when he saw the podcast. But you got the kid from Alabama already, the McLaughlin. So like, I just think I don't know you could draw up a better finishing piece to an offseason where you kept your own and added more talent to it in the portal and in the recruiting class. I don't know you could have a better cherry on top of this Sunday than Jadyn Proctor. And it really is, because it is your absolute need, and he is a game changer up front for you.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. And maybe, especially maybe some of the shuffling that you would do it along the offensive line. And I just think, again, that's the one area still that I'm like, how is there any way to get better there? And that's, again, I talk about my Michigan panic meter shifting or moving. If they can bolster that group a little bit more, and if somebody like Jadyn Proctor actually came here, that would be the thing that I think sets me into being more in like the full on gray, because I think that's the one area that we still haven't seen him fully address during this transfer portal time and the off season and all this different stuff. So if that happens, I'd be through the roof. Yes, Caleb Downs would be incredible. I would love to have him too. I'd love to get both if possible. But if I have to pick one or the other, I'm 100% taking Jadyn Proctor.
All right, guys. It's going to be an insane rest of the month here. Obviously, we've got the Senior Bowl coming up at the end of the month. Plenty of Buckeyes playing in that game. That begins the NFL draft process, which is, don't look now, but there are a lot of intriguing Buckeyes going into the draft. So we'll have that on the forefront. Obviously, Bill O'Brien could be just the first piece of kind of reworking this offensive side of the ball. They still need a special teams coach. We're on portal watch with Alabama players. So make sure to do yourself and us a favor by following the show wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, the free Odyssey app, and of course on 92.3 The Fans YouTube channel. Make sure to give us a follow. Also follow us on social media at Nick Wilson Says, at Spencito _. I don't remember if I have anything else to say. It has been a whirlwind day. It's been a whirlwind week here. Spencer, as I end every podcast, we say, go Bucks.
R.I.P. Ghost of Nick. R.I.P.